Welcome to this video and welcome to the channel if you're new. I am not procrastinating anymore and I am finally going to plant the bulbs that have been sitting in a box in my living room since September. Hands up, who's the same? I also have some winter garden book recommendations and I have some satisfying leaf cleaning, which I know you guys love that. It's up there with power washing. So anyway, this is going to be a cozy garden vlog. So make yourself something warm, get the tea, hot chocolate, whatever your drink of choice is, get cozy and settle in. This autumn, I have decided to do some spring bulbs in pots and containers. I do have a lot of bulbs already in the flower beds, and mostly daffodils, crocus, lots of alliums. I don't have as many tulips. I do have tulips in a cut flower bed, but I find year on year they start to kind of deteriorate. But I am going to get some tulips to pop in pots. Also later in the video I have a really good book recommendation if you're into pots and containers and you're looking for some inspiration. One of the main reasons I want to do the spring bulbs in containers is because of the bulb foliage, mostly with daffodils. I find once they have finished flowering, you have to wait ages for that bulb foliage to die back. And it is advised to let the foliage go back until it goes yellow because all the goodness will go into the bulb for next year's flower. However, I find sometimes, and especially in the flower borders, in the flower beds, it can look a bit messy for a couple of weeks. So I've decided I still want spring bulbs because they make me happy and I love the long growing season that we have. I love spring bulbs. But I am going to get a bit smarter and I'm going to do them in containers because then when those containers are dying off, I can just move them around to the side of the greenhouse and let them die back. Sitting up in the storage nook was this random ice bucket and I have not used this ice bucket since it's been up there, so I decided it was time to turn it into a nice bulb planter. I'm doing a little bit of lasagna planting, so I'm popping in these daffodils that I'm hoping they're going to have a lovely orangey colour. They're a little bit different. I do have some white daffodils in the border beside, but I wanted to go for this lovely vibrant orange colour. I think it'd be really nice on a spring afternoon when it's a bit dull. I think it'll look nice. I am going to put some crocus as well on top of this. What I like about the ice bucket is it's perfect for bulbs because it's not too deep. It's nice and wide as well. And I am packing the bulbs into this. I'm putting them much more closer together than you would if you were putting these in a border. I am packing them in because I want a really full, juicy display. It got a bit too chilly outside. There is nothing, as I'm filming this, it's a Sunday. There is nothing like being in the garden when it's chilly and then you come in and you light a fire. I just feel like it is luxury. To me, that is luxury, being able to come in, light a fire after being outside in the cold. All I need is a cup of tea. I actually have a book recommendation. I am going to go back out into the garden tomorrow because I have 5 bags of camassias. Where was I going? And I did say it in a previous video last month that I forgot to order tulips. So anyway, that noise is Bon wanting to go back outside. Do you hear him? After a few minutes he calms down. He's after me outside for 3 hours. It's too cold, his little paws. Anyway, as we were coming into the not wanting to go outside because it's too bleeding freezing season. Too bleeding freezing season. Oh, that's a series. My thing, I'm hoping for kind of going into December time, possibly January, once I've done my cleanup jobs, is reading the garden books that I buy throughout the year, and they just sit there looking pretty. I did read this in one sitting in the hairdressers. Now I haven't been recently, hence why my hair looks like this. You can always tell if there is moisture in the air by how thick my hair is. Anyway, if you're looking for inspiration for containers and pots, this is a lovely book, and someone actually recommended it in the comment section back during summertime. It's Claus Delby. You probably follow him on Instagram. He actually has a YouTube channel as well. That's another thing I want to catch up on over winter, is catching up on other people's YouTube channels. Also, leave your faves in the comment section. So I bought this book on one of you guys, again in the comment section. That's where all the info be flowing. Keep it coming. One thing I will say about this is amazing for planting inspiration and planting combinations when it comes to pots. But one thing I liked was he's very honest in the book about having a heated greenhouse and also having staff do like the displays for him. So if you are like me and you fall guilty to the trap of comparison and you are a one person, sorry, I just realized that my camera wants to focus on the fire. I don't blame it, the fire be looking better than me. Okay, I'm back in focus for the minute. If you are like me and you are the head gardener, there's only one of you in the garden, and maybe you're looking online, possibly on YouTube videos or Instagram, and you see a beautiful, stunning display. Even if you're out and about and you see a stunning display in gardens and whatever, it is nice to just remember that sometimes there is a team of people behind that. So whether it's in a garden, it could be the council looking after it, or if it is on Instagram. I do like how he does say, Connor, throughout the book, that, you know, his heated greenhouse, he does talk about what he does with the pots like during winter. And I like, what kind of inspired me was his use of perennials and pots as well. I have not by any means. I literally planted 3 pots with bulbs. It is not a Claus Delby display. However, I think little things like the use of like annual bedding plants like violas and pansies, I just bypass them in the garden centre. But little things for adding colour and colour combinations. It's a book that if I'm looking for inspiration, like actual inspiration, not scrolling online, it's really nice to have a book to make reference to. Anyone else the same with the internet? You could be scrolling and a million pop-up ads do be popping up. Oh, my €5 Tesco voucher just flew out. It's actually out of date, 31st of the 8th. I actually read this book back in August, September when I was in the hairdresser. But yeah, I find with the internet it can be a lot of pop-up ads, very easy to get distracted. But yeah, a good book is nice to get lost in. Giving yourself the time to read a book, I'm very guilty of flicking, half reading, especially when I'm at home. But I find somewhere, if it's like the hairdresser, or I can't really read on the bus because I get like, not motion sickness, but it makes me feel a bit bleh. But if you have anything coming up where you do have like an hour where, I don't know, read a book. But yeah, lovely colour combinations. I think I did show a flick through of this book back during summertime, but I just wanted to recommend it. What's next on my reading list? Oh, I know what's next, and it's in my little library over here. I have 2 gardening books that I got, well actually, I got this one last year, last Christmas, and I haven't even opened the front of it. I bought this last, I'm gonna say December, as like a Christmas present to myself, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll read that over winter. But one thing I love about this book, just from flicking, is there is beautiful photography. There you go. Lots of Monty Don hand shots. Yeah. So I bought this. Oh, it was 36. See, it's worth the money. It's a lot in that. And I got it on sale for 30. And then I actually have Irish Gardeners. I got this when I was in signing books in the warehouse, in the Gale warehouse, and I got my hands on one of these, and it's Gardening Together. So it's Irish gardener Dermot Gavin and Paul Smith, who I hadn't heard of Paul Smith before until I stumbled across him through Dermot Gavin. And actually, sometimes if I'm on the Claire Byrne show, I'll be on with Mary Staunton, and she did a workshop with Dermot Gavin during the summertime, which I saw pop up on her Instagram. So I'm not gonna sit here and be like, I'm gonna read 10 books over winter in the garden, but these are two that I want to read over winter. And I have my bee manual. My bee manual is in the library there. It's the Haynes one. Heinz? It's like the Bible for the bees. So I want to read over that again. The bee book I had been using for weekly bee classes back in, I started the beginner beekeeping workshop in February last year, or this year. I am in 2025 already. Get back into 2024. I did my beginners beekeeping course in February this year, and we had to read like little sections every week, and then I did read it front to back in another hairdresser sitting. I find like when you have to get stuff done in the hairdresser, they probably think I'm antisocial, but I love to just read a book. But I'm going to reread over that, some of the sections, especially when it comes to swarm control, because going into spring I will have to be proactive with swarm control and keeping an eye on them. Whereas this year I got nukes and I caught a swarm, and they did, when one of them swarmed, the queen was clipped, so I didn't lose numbers. So I have 2 queens that are not marked and not clipped. So springtime, when I open the hives, I'm gonna have to look for them queens. It's always good to mark your queen, and like, well, you wouldn't open a hive now, it's too cold, but when it warms up in spring, to mark her with a dot, because she'll be easier to find in spring, because in the middle of summer when there is thousands and thousands of bees in the hive, I am not going to find Her Majesty. There is 3 book recommendations from me. Let me know if you have any. I also have the €2 Alan Titchmarsh books that I shared in a thrifting video that I got volume 1 and volume 2. I won't lie, I'll probably just flick through them. I don't know if I'll read them in depth. I think I'm being realistic with my reads for the minute. Back in the garden, and I want to plant some bulbs in the front in the new raised beds. Before that, I want to do a little bit of tidying up. Now, touch wood, So far this autumn, and now I have to be careful because there is a few trees that are late losing their leaves. But since the trees were trimmed on the other side of the wall, there is probably a fraction of my usual leaf cleaning up. Now I know that that will probably change in a few weeks when the last of the leaves fall in November. I adjusted the height on the lawnmower as well so that it is nice and high. Whenever I'm cutting the grass this time of year, it's mostly just hoovering up the leaves. I do make leaf mulch as well. However, the leaves that were on the grass today were a bit dry. So I like to make leaf molds with lovely wet soggy leaves. So I'll wait until there has been lots of rain and then I will gather the leaves up. I had a little patch, my regular viewers will remember, where I just let the grass grow and I don't cut it. Kind of like no mow May but no mow summer. And the reason why I have to give it a trim now is because there's loads of crocus there and I don't want them to be hidden by all of that creeping buttercup, so I just gave it a trim. I wanted to just make a start at doing a bit of tidying up. I kind of feel like it's a losing battle, but it gives me great satisfaction, even if it's only tidy and leaf free for a few hours. Something else about this time of year with the darker afternoons, even the mornings, just lack of sunlight. Whenever it is sunny, that autumn winter sunshine just hits different as well. I love that low, it just makes everything look golden and pretty. So something that definitely helps keep my mood in check this time of year is just going out and doing simple cleaning jobs. Even if it's just 20 minutes, 30 minutes, getting out and getting some vitamin D, it definitely helps when it's a sunny day. And today it wasn't as cold as when I was filming yesterday. And that definitely makes it all the more easy to get out into the garden. I know from chatting to a couple of you guys from previous years on the channel that a couple of you do suffer this time of year with the lack of light and the low lighting levels, and it affects your energy and your mood. I find for me, getting out first thing in the morning before work if I can and getting natural sunlight, even if it's grey, I'll take anything. So I try and even drink my cup of tea in the garden with my slippers on and my robe just to get that natural sunlight. And then if I'm on a day off like today, I like to get out into the garden, get some vitamin D, even if it's only for a couple of minutes or an hour or two. If you do want to make leaf mold or use leaves as mulch, I will briefly explain how I do it, but if you want, the next time I'm in the garden and I'm gathering up leaves, I can make a video for you. So if you want to make leaf mold, what you need is lovely wet juicy leaves, and you're going to need, you can actually get these little sacks, they're like Hessian sacks, but you can use a plastic bin bag. So bag up your wet leaves and tie a knot, and then use something sharp like a scissors to punch in some air holes. And then store that leaves to go nice and moldy. You can put it behind a shed. I pop them behind the greenhouse and you just let that rot away for a couple of months. And then in summertime, that will be all broken down and moldy, and you can use that then as a mulch on the base of your plants, so around the bottom. Another thing I do if I want to just mulch it, I don't want to bag it up or store it. What I'll do is I will mow the leaves, so I'll brush them. Also, I do have a leaf blower. You'll see me sweeping the paths. That just gives me joy and it's a little bit of cardio, but I do have a leaf blower. What I'll do is I'll blow the leaves onto a patch of grass and I will mow them. And the reason I mow the leaves is because I'm breaking them down so that they're not big and chunky. And then I just take the box, well, I mow it. All of my mulchy leaves, broken down leaves, will be in the box of the lawnmower, and then I just put that on the plants in winter. So if I'm probably going to leave the dahlias, I'm not going to dig them up. What I'll do is I'll put a layer, maybe farmyard manure, then I'll do some leaves, maybe some bark, just to give me some thickness above the bulb. So that is 2 ways that I use the leaves that the trees give me. God gives me leaves. We turn them into leaf mulch and it's a nice conditioner for the soil. You're basically just using what you have, or you could just compost it. Now, if you're wondering what am I doing outside sweeping up the path, I have been so embarrassed by the state of the curb. So I don't know who is responsible for cleaning the road. Is it the council? This is the patch right outside my house and it has a garden of weeds. There's some cracks in the path where there is just some weeds growing. I actually just let them flower during the summertime because I was like, hey, it's in flower. Let's be on it. We will leave it be. But every time I drive into the driveway, I'm like, oh my God, I'm trying to make my front garden look nice and pretty. And here I am with weeds growing out of the cracks. Now, I don't mind pretty weeds growing. So if there was some erigeron or even some campanula, but no, they're just your good old dandelions. No shade to the dandelions. They are quite beneficial. But I decided I was going to clean this weedy corner up. I was actually afraid to give out to the council because in case they would spray it with weed killer, and I don't want them to come along and spray the weeds. So it only took me 20 minutes to hack at this with my shovel and my sweeping brush. And I haven't done it in like a year or more. So that's a year of growth and it's gone in 20 minutes. So I don't mind that. What I don't want is the council to come along with chemicals and weed killer and all of that. I don't know if they use weed killer, but that would just be my fear. So yeah, it makes for some satisfying cleaning though. And now for some bulbs in the front. So the raised beds in the front are new. They were built in April this year. I have loads of perennials and shrubs in it and I have no bulbs. It's so full already. I have managed to pack this and I'll probably lose one or two plants once the shrubs start to establish and get bigger. I might lose some of the perennials, but I'll keep an eye on them and I can move them around. I've decided against popping in spring bulbs in here, so the likes of daffodils and tulips, because of the foliage. I do have daffodils on the border on the left of the garden, so I will still have loads of spring bulbs, just not in this section. Instead, I've opted for, I'm doing two different plants. So I'm doing some allium starlight. And allium starlight, if you look it up, it's very whimsical, nice and tall. It looks like a little dainty flower on it. It's not like your allium globe masters. I think it might flower around about June time, so it might be nice to give me a height. I think it would look pretty with other plants that have height, the likes of foxgloves and lupins. So I'm popping some of that in, and then the other bulb that I have a group of 3 of them, and it's Fritillaria, can't say it, ivory bells. This I believe flowers late May and it's giving me foxglove vibes, as in it has a lovely bit of height, kind of like a verbascum. Apologies for the washing machine in the background. So all I have left to plant bulb wise is 20 Camasias. Leeklinli. No, not going to pronounce that. This is why I need to keep a garden journal or diary, to be like, what was I thinking? The only thing I can think of is at the start of the year, well, around about May time, there's a roundabout that once the tulips go over, there's lovely camassias. And camassias are a great kind of May bulb when like the daffodils are gone and stuff. However, where I'm putting them, the new front border that was built this year has like no more room in it, and I'm not putting daffodils and tulips in it because of all the bulb foliage. I just put in the fritillarias and some allium starlight because they're lovely and whimsical. Other than that, I don't have any bulbs in it. I left the rest for the pots. So I don't know what I was thinking with the camassias. Was I gonna put them in the little mini meadow out the front, or one of the flower beds for cut flowers at the back? 5 pieces. Now there is pink tulips in one of the cut flower beds, and these will be nice as a nice gap filler before the dahlias come through. Yeah, I have no clue. I need to jot down, why did I buy this? What was I thinking? Because then I'm like, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to ponder on this one. I don't want to put them willy-nilly in random places. I do have room in the side border as well. Hansel Pooh buys bulbs late at night and then wonders where the hell they're going to put them. Anyway, let me know what you have planted. If you've planted anything, maybe you already have loads, or yeah, you're doing pots, or let me know. Also, don't forget to let me know what you're reading over winter. So if there's any garden books that you recommend, all the action does be in the comments section. So share amongst the community. Also, if you're new, say hello in the comment section. Let me know where you're watching from, and I will see you in the next one.